Well, good afternoon, everybody. Darren Saul, your host of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. Hope everybody's surviving the end of year madness. But never fear, we've got a couple more podcast episodes before 2021. Today, it's episode 131 with Elaine Davies. How are you, Elaine?
I'm really great, thank you. And thank you for having me on as your guest. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone's surviving the end of 2022.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a big year.
Massive.
We're all looking forward to next one.
Mm.
But everybody out there, today it's going to be a great show. We're talking all about property. And in particular, the topic for today is Elaine's domain. Property, that is.
Yeah.
So, Elaine was once a real estate agent. She has now been working as a buyer's agent for 15 years and has founded her own business, New Road Property, 5 years ago. There's not much Elaine doesn't know about buying and selling property. She's also an author, and her latest book, Mind, Body, Sold, Your Holistic Guide to Buying Property Using Your Head, Your Heart, and Your Smarts, is available to buy now. So welcome to the show, Elaine.
Yay!
Fantastic. So now, Elaine, I'd love to know a bit more about you, and in particular, I'd love to know about your journey or your transition from working as a real estate agent to the world of the buyer's agent, because that's something that's just gone crazy lately. There's buyer's agents popping up everywhere. So tell us a bit about
It's really crazy. So when I became a buyer's agent 15 years ago, there were less buyers wanting to use a buyer's agent, but there were far, far, far less buyer's agents. And they are, a lot of real estate agents are kind of flipping over into buyer's agency now. And I think they think it's easier. I don't know what's going on. And there's also a guy there's the Buyer's Agents Institute, Ben Handler, and he's doing a course setting up buyer's agents, but he's out of Sydney. So people are doing his course and coming out of that and then getting into the market as well. But as you said, I've been doing it for 15 years. So I wasn't the very original. There was probably one little batch before me, but I was certainly one of the originals.
Wow.
And to answer your question, I love this question because, why do you jump ship? Because I think, I believe being a buyer's agent is harder work. It's certainly more of a brain. You need to use your brain a bit more because we're not standing there like real estate agents with a product behind us going, I'm selling this house. Do you want it or not? We're actually taking on our clients' briefs, really thinking about what they really need for their budget, because it's just human psychology. You always want a bit above what you can really afford, so we have to work on that. And I'm playing with people's wealth for their future. I'm making sure they buy that property that comes up at the median of a suburb or hopefully above, because if you buy a lemon, it's going to be sour for a long time to come.
You've been drinking a lot of lemonade.
That's right. Keep making that lemonade. So I just got really, really, really tired of how buyers were treated, because buyer's agents are paid a heap of money. It's a big whack of money. But to look after the vendor, they're not there to look after the buyer at all.
Yeah.
So I just, behind that beautiful facade of that marble entrance of the real estate agent, and the beautiful girl on the phone or the man.
Yeah.
Some nasty things I said about buyers.
Okay. And so you just fell in love with the other side in a way. You fell in love with helping the other side achieve their dreams. So that's
I did get approached. I hadn't really, well, I knew I was very unhappy. I just didn't like the system.
Okay.
And I'm a pretty fair person. I'm a pretty open and transparent person. But I did actually get Chris Gray from Empire. I don't know if you know him, around the eastern suburbs. Yeah, so 15 years ago, he approached me to come and work for him. And I've really never looked back. I just got it straight away, loved it.
Fantastic. And you've just started your business about 5 years ago.
Yes.
Buyer's agency.
Yes, realised I was completely unemployable. So definitely time to start my own.
Good idea. And which areas do you focus on? Which geographical areas do you work in?
So I used to say 10K ring of the city, Sydney, but now I say 15 because as prices have kind of gone up, and I've bought up as far as Pimble. I've bought in the Blue Mountains for people.
Wow.
So, it's really about saying, well, this is my core. But, real estate agents are real estate agents. Solicitors are solicitors, mortgage brokers are mortgage brokers, wherever you are. And especially about the real estate agents, because I I give them all categories,
Yeah.
and I know quite quickly who I'm dealing with, even if I've never met them before. They're pretty straightforward to work
Yeah.
out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into the side of the buyer's agents, I just want to talk a bit about, property prices in general.
Yep.
Why is it that real estate agents tend to underquote always when you're buying a property, and you always end up paying more, or you go into auction, or whatever it is? What's
Well, you're
the
not paying more.
reason?
That was never the price. As you say, they're
Yeah, that's true.
underquoting.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
true.
No, it's the vendor always knew what they wanted. So
Yep.
there's a saying in property, quote it low, watch it go, quote it high, watch it die.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, in a way, the real estate agents are stuck between a rock and a hard place, because
yep.
people expect underquoting now, even though we hate it and it really annoys us. And psychologically, when it comes to that real excitement and when you're emotionally engaged in a
Yep.
property, you kind of forget, and that's why you need a buyer's agent to hold you back, push you forward, know when to. It's not just about finding the property. That's like a third of the work.
Yeah,
And but that's why they do it. So Sydney's really trained so you have to add 10% per norm, like
that's just
always
the way it is.
10%. Yeah, always 10%. Sometimes in the boom it was 25%. I mean, even now there's somebody who's telling me somebody was quoting 1.4 and it sold for 1.8, and this is
Whoa.
right now, like last
I
weekend.
know. Yeah, the market's crazy at the moment.
Yeah, it's gone potty again.
Yeah.
Always does in Sydney, though. People think, I wish everyone had bought back in March, April.
Yeah,
But there you go. Everyone thought, everyone was chicken little again back then.
Yeah. And so how often does a buyer's agent actually tell their clients, okay, it's enough now, stop, we'll find something else? Does it happen often?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. So a really, really important part of my job is doing the pricing. So, there are times you need to listen to the real estate agent, but pricing, as we just talked about, is not one of them. Never, ever listen to the real estate agent on pricing.
Yep.
And even those comparables they give you, they're probably 2 years old. Maybe they're on a main road. They will manipulate those comparables to reflect their quote, which is the underquoting. They won't give you comparables that actually say, they're not going to be quoting 1.6 on something and give you comparables for 1.8, are they? So,
Yep.
so that's the one time you never, ever, ever listen to a real estate agent, and you've just got to do the work.
Yep.
You've got to find the sales that have sold in the last 3 months, and they've got to be comparable. And when I say comparable, I mean, are the windows to the north, so you get beautiful light all day, or have you got shitty windows to the south and it's same, it's a twin house, but one is way better than the other, So when I say do price research, I really mean drill down on the floor plan, what's around it. They've really got to be comparable properties. And I guess you've got to know what you're looking for then, but it's not really rocket science either. But you've got to find the properties for comparables.
And that's why I suppose a buyer's agent is so good to engage, because they do all that for you.
Do all that for you, and because we do it all day every day, we know what we're looking for. We know where to. It's like any professional doing their job. Yeah, it's what we do.
I agree.
So we know it really well, and we know what questions to ask council, and so even something like next door going up one level, which happens all the time in Sydney. You've got to know what's coming in the area. Yeah,
you're not even sure what you can and can't do, what you can actually submit in terms of plans and urban planning and all this, restrictions.
That's a whole other thing. What can you do with the property you're buying, let alone what next door's doing, blocking out your light, or, something from a one-level extension to the West Connects. It's like, yeah.
And just out of interest, Elaine, when someone moves from, say, real estate to working as a buyer's agent, do they have to do any other certification? Or
no, it's the other way around. So once you're a fully qualified selling agent, you can be a buyer's agent, but a buyer's agent can't become. There's more. There's more to study. I think that's changing in March, though. I think now buyer's agents are being recognised as a little bit more not highbrow. Smart, maybe, I don't know.
So if I wanted to become a buyer's agent, probably from next year, I might have to do some kind of certification.
Yeah, no, well, look, this is actually probably quite boring, but the big thing in the real estate agent exam is the property management. So all the maths around investments and the trust funds and where that goes, and
Right.
Yeah, and as a buyer's agent, you don't have to learn all that.
Okay, beautiful. So, let's break it down for everybody who hasn't really worked with a buyer's agent or hasn't really understand yet what buyer's agents do.
Mm.
What are, apart from the ones that you've already mentioned, what are the
Mm.
real benefits of working with the buyer's agent?
Well, I think the really important thing is that we build a complete picture of the property for you.
Mhm.
So even if you decide, you know what, this is a family home, I really love it, I'm happy to pay extra to buy it, you need to know you're paying extra.
Yep, right.
It's not about just panicking on the, or not panicking, being put under pressure on the auction floor and suddenly you've gone up 30,000. You need to go in with a rock solid strategy and know how much extra you're prepared to pay. And then, because with my clients, they can't change their mind on the auction floor. They
Mhm.
give it to me in writing beforehand, and that's their budget. They're not allowed to look at me, and
Wow.
that's it. Oh, absolutely, because that's what an auction's designed to do.
Oh
Yeah,
boy, right. Well,
is to get the hands going up.
yep,
And
yep.
these are really, really professional salespeople, the auctioneer and the real estate agent. They're doing scripts in their sales meetings every Tuesday morning.
Yep. Oh
They,
boy.
they, they're role playing. A buyer comes into that, they've got their mortgage, they're super excited, right, going to buy a property. And they walk into this lion's den,
Yep,
really.
exactly. Okay, exactly.
In my book, I write about it like Game of Thrones.
Oh,
So I don't know if anyone out there watches Game of Thrones, but I've got the buyers as the Norse, which are the country folk.
yep.
Well, they start off that way. They soon get a bit smart. But the Lannisters are the real estate agents, and Littlefinger is the auctioneer because he has no alliance to anyone. And legally, it's the auctioneer who is in charge when the auction is on, not the real
Yep.
estate agent.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you knew
And,
that, yeah.
and everybody always talks about off-market properties.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So a lot of buyers agents really sell their services on off-market properties. But as I said earlier, I believe finding the property is like a third of the job.
Right.
So I get as many off-market properties as other buyers agents. And what it means is they're not on realestate.com.au or on domain.com.au or
Right.
advertised in any way.
So you cannot find them at all on the
You
web.
can't,
Yep.
no. And there's a few different levels of off-market. There's the ones who are pre-market, so they're coming on,
Uh-huh.
and we get through. And as I say, other buyers with agents would be like, I get through. I know how many emails go out to buyers agents now because real estate agents tell me, because I've been doing it a long time and I know everyone.
Yeah.
But so buyers agents, we get access to them before they go on the market. It's pre-market. But you have to be really careful of that because sometimes they're looking for offers to condition their vendors. It's not about,
Ah, they're
you
fishing.
know, yeah, they're just fishing a lot of the
Mm.
time. And also, so there's also off markets that are never going to market. So
Right.
they're genuinely off markets, and they might be privacy or divorce, could be anything. Or it could be an opportunistic vendor who's come crossed paths with a desperate real estate agent and has said to that agent, if you can get me X, I'll sell. And, so not all off markets are good. A lot of them are
Right. Yeah.
overpriced rubbish.
Yeah. 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 So it's just another ingredient in that whole process, but you have to
Yes, but I think
understand the process.
the world of buyers agent has changed. Sadly, has changed the world of real estate because there is an awful lot of markets. Like I'm playing it down a bit.
Yeah.
There is. You've really got to be on the hustle to find them,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of taken the joy out of those lovely Saturday open for inspections. I mean, they're still around, but that's the great. That's when the neighbours come out and get
Yeah.
to meet people, and that's when real estate agents meet more people. Buyers agents meet more people. Like it's a whole
Yeah.
community thing. Yeah.
But if you're a busy professional, say, and you don't have time to be trolling through all the websites and going every Saturday or Sunday, lining up in the queue to fill out the forms and look at properties, that's what buyers agents do for you. Yeah, you just say, "This is what I want."
Absolutely. That's
You just do everything,
101.
and that you might even be able to organize a showing on another day, maybe half an hour during the day when nobody else is there. Is that the kind of thing that you do?
Yeah, and that comes down to relationships too. So, again, I know a lot of them. So, when somebody's with me, an agent is very sure that they're ready to buy because I vetted them. So we know their mortgage is in place. They know that I've been really strict on their brief. So when I'm saying, listen, I'd like to bring someone through, they're like, oh, okay, this could
Right.
really be a deal here.
Good, good.
Rather than a buyer on their own, as I say, walking into this labyrinth of craziness, saying, oh, can I see it? Can I show my boyfriend at
Mm.
lunchtime? They're like, no, I don't think so. And then frustration starts to kick in, and you get caught up in underquoting, and frustration turns to anger, and people get so disappointed and angry, you know.
Yeah, it's an emotional decision. It's
It's terrible.
one
Yeah.
of the biggest decisions in people's lives.
Yep. Which
Yeah,
is why I became a buyer's agent right
yeah,
there.
wow,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's the relationship between real estate and buyer's agents these days? Are they pretty
Great.
collaborative? Yeah.
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 Really great. I mean, I've been a real estate agent, so I understand how hard the job is.
Yeah.
They are absolutely 100% working for the vendor. So as long as you get your head around that and don't expect any fabulous
Gotcha.
favors,
Yeah, fair enough.
you know, that's their job.
Yep.
And yeah, no, we work together. There's no point not, and more because it's not becoming like the American system, but certainly buyers agents, as you said, are more and more common now.
Yeah. And I did hear that I think in America you can't buy a property without a buyer's agent. Is that right?
No, but in America, one person is a buyer's agent and a selling agent, so you don't have to choose your horse either.
Oh, so one
You're
person
just
for
an
both.
agent.
Oh, I see, I see. But
Yeah.
in America, if you want to buy a property, you don't have to buy through a buyer's agent. You can buy it direct as well. Is that right?
Yes, no. What I mean is, you would have your representation as a buyer, but
Uh-huh.
that representative could also be a selling agent.
I see, I see. Gotcha.
Yep. So you could have one person to help you buy, and the same person could help you sell.
Oh my God.
Now, well, to me, it makes sense. Like, you've got a relationship, and you know how to buy, you know how to sell, but it's not to be in Australia.
Yeah, wow, fascinating. Okay.
Mm.
And what about what about pricing and, is buyer's agents, are they accessible to everybody? Can you do different deals or how do they charge? How does it generally work?
I don't know how everyone charges, but I have two what do you call it, products
Okay.
that are a percentage, and then I've got a third one which is a $5,000 for analyzing 4 properties.
Mhm.
So you bring the property to me.
Okay.
And I mean, look, to be honest, I will say up front before anyone wastes time if I think it's rubbish,
Yeah.
or if I can see just by looking at it that it's too expensive. So I do have this package where people can just bring stuff to me. But as you say, mostly people are really, really busy, and it is so they need the whole service.
Yeah.
And it is a percentage, and it's really interesting. You look how much the property market's gone up again now. And I was talking to somebody last week who's got, for Sydney, a low budget, and it would have been a really hard brief for me, but I really wanted her to work with me, even though it would be a nightmare, to be honest. But I just wanted to get her into the market.
Wow.
But she's back on fees. Had
Yeah.
she come with me in June, the way the market's come up, my fee would be irrelevant considering, how much the market's come up.
That's
And we
right.
always try and negotiate our fee back. Like,
Yeah.
well, I do anyway.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
So
of
there's
course.
options for people as well who want to
Yeah.
test out using a buyer's agent.
Yeah. And I can help people choose the real estate agent too. I do vendors advocates because I know them so well, the agents.
Yeah. And a lot of the times buyer's agents will say, the money that you will save because I'm doing this for you, I have connections in this area. I make sure the legal is right. I save you money with other things and negotiations will be the fee in a way. So is that true?
100%. And the thing is, you can't tell, maybe for another 2 or 3 years, but we know that we've got, as I said, we've bought that property, or at least I know. I'm really fussy with what I buy. And so I know I've bought that property that will come up at the median or above.
Yep.
We're not buying anything on busy roads, south facing if we can help it. All those things that a lot of people just go, oh, does it really matter? It's like, well, yeah, it does.
And so you can actually help out with all the legal, with the property inspections, everything, right down to the last
So
minute.
I'm not a lawyer or a conveyancer, but I know enough about that contract
Okay.
to be able to, I've picked up a couple of things, like what one solicitor had has spelled the client's name incorrectly, which would have been a null and void deal.
Wow.
And I was the one that picked that up, but I know good conveyancers and I know good lawyers. So you're not just, and a big mistake a lot of people make with lawyers is they go with a family lawyer,
Mhm.
and what you need is a property lawyer, because any other kind of lawyer, they're going to be more expensive. And on top of being more expensive, they're going to be less knowledgeable because it's not something they do all day, every day. And even worse, they can be caught up in court. And the way that the Sydney market moves, you don't want a solicitor that's like you get the PA and they're like, no, that he's in court all day.
Yeah, you can't, because you need to move
That
fast.
makes me cry.
Absolutely. I mean, Sydney market is on fire. It's
Sizzling.
absolutely on fire.
Mm.
And is it going to slow down at all towards the end of the year, or it's just this is going to continue?
Well, it is the end of the year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, over Christmas, does it tend to
there's
slow a
one
bit?
more. It'll be completely dead over Christmas
Okay.
New Year, only because everyone's on holiday, though.
Yeah.
But Sydney's predicted to have quite a spike next year.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, exciting.
Well done. And so now I believe you have written your own book. So tell us a bit about why you wrote that book and what's the book about?
Well, it's kind of exactly what I was talking. I'm an educator. I've never been a teacher, but I really like to help people out.
Yep.
And it really gives away every single negotiate. I mean, it's a big fat book. Every single negotiating tip that I've got, the where to look, the when to look, even the property cycles. One of my big mantras, and people are sick of me saying it, is the right time to buy is when you're ready. If the stars have aligned and you've got a mortgage, buy a property.
So true.
You know, it's time in the market, not timing the market.
There's never a perfect
awful
right
metaphors.
Time. Yep.
Sorry?
There's never a perfect right time. It doesn't exist. The right time is when you're ready, let's go.
That's right, when the stars have aligned. So there's lots of stuff about all this power team I was talking about, the right mortgage broker, financial advisor, accountant. Because if you're going to buy more than one, you might as well speak to your accountant at the beginning and make sure you're buying it in the right name. You might want to buy it in a family trust, not your own name. So there's stuff to think about. But it's also, I'm also really strong on mindset, because I really believe without mindset, skill set is academic.
Yep,
so,
true.
What I mean by that, doesn't matter how much academically you know, if you haven't got that confidence to move forward, you ain't ever going to buy. So the first section of the book is on mindset. Then I've got a bit in the middle on women, on why we drew the Welsh short straw, not as entrepreneurs, but in the corporate world, there's a pay gap.
Okay.
And so they kind of get off on an even footing from the second they leave uni. And then there's other stuff, there's kids and, So another one of my big quotes is, property does not understand the gender pay gap. So it doesn't matter who buys it, it's going to come up or down. Depending on what you buy. So it's a really good way for women to, I
like that. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Very cool. And so that was, and the third part of the book?
So Mind, Body, Souls. It's mindset, skill set, and the negotiations at the end. Yeah.
Awesome. And so where can people find this book?
It's on Amazon, amazon.com and amazon.com.au. I keep meaning to get it up on my own website.
Wow.
Just another job to put on the list,
And how long did it take you to write it?
Well, look, I'm a writer. It's my fourth book. So, but this one actually took me longer because I was typical, I've written lots of newsletters. I'll be fine. I'll just amalgamate them, which of course is the biggest mistake. You've got to start from scratch, and plan it all out. And that actually took me longer so from beginning to end, it was 18 months. That's with a full-time job and a son and a house to run and Woolworths shopping to buy, a cat to feed.
It was like an accumulation of all your experience in the industry just coming. Is that the first book that you've written on this topic, or have you written other books as well on this topic?
No, it's the first one on this topic, but I did have mindset in there,
Gotcha. And what were your other books?
My original topics.
What were your other books about?
My first book was called Millennium Girl, and it was a combination of astrology and numerology. So as we went into, completely different. So as we went into, from 1999 to 2000, Pan Macmillan asked, anyway, it doesn't matter, different life, 20 years ago. And and then the next one was just on astrology for teenagers, for little girls, on how to manipulate their parents, how to study, best friends, that kind of thing. And then there was another one called Tea Leaves to Tarot Cards, 23 Ways to Tell Your Future. So just a little book.
So you're very into astrology and all that type of thing. How did you get
I am. Not as much as I used to be, but having said that, I'm always checking myself out, I must say.
Wow. Where did that interest come from?
Oh gosh, a long time ago. I was I was in India and it had nothing to do, well, I don't think it actually had anything to do with India, but when I came back, I just needed a hobby that was kind of outside of my normal life. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going back a long time,
Yeah.
pre-children.
Okay.
And it could have been anything. It could have been art, it could have been pottery, it could have been writing. Well, it ended up being writing because I had to completely re-educate myself in evening classes with my grammar and my spelling. I had to completely relearn to write. And so a friend of mine just said, I've just done an astrology course, you should do it, it's great fun. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting.
Wow.
And my whole life just took off. It changed completely.
And so you really dove deep into star signs and astrology and reading
Yeah,
the future and tarot and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. Well, what I really what took off was a media career. So I'm a bit like I am now. I'm very big picture, but I ended up on Beauty and the Beast and Family Circle
Oh
Television
my
and
God.
Qantas Radio and TGB and 7 magazines I was writing for, these 3 books. It just went mad.
My God, you're a busy lady.
That was a long time ago.
Incredible, Elaine. Well done. And so now I love to share an example for our audience because
Yes.
my audience loves examples and case studies. So I was wondering if you could share with us a great example of you helping out a client buy their dream house or their dream property and walk us through that process, how it felt to them, how it felt to you, and tell us that story.
Nothing like putting me on the spot. Right. Look, I'll tell you one that really jumps to
Sure.
mind. It was not that long ago. So I was having a chat with a real estate agent. It was this was an investment property, but it was the dream investment property. It was in Coogee, what they
Yeah.
really wanted for the family and the children, for this property to double and create wealth over the next 10 years. And I had done my pricing and my clients had been through it. They were really academic clients, really, really. Like some clients just go, well, what do you think it's worth? And I say the figures. Some people go through it with a fine tooth comb because I supply all the links to the comparables. And, they go, these clients are them. And so we all agreed as a team what this apartment was worth, and we were very comfortable with that.
Right.
I was talking to the real estate agent in his office. This wasn't just a chat on the phone. I'd gone in to meet with him, and he said, because the thing with me, because I'm quite chatty, and you probably know this yourself, and I'm really into mindset, the right question can just open up.
Indeed.
Anyway, and also if you talk long enough, people relax.
Yeah.
And he said, I can't remember exactly how I got there, but he said, oh, if I get X, let's call it 2 million. If I get to X, I get extra commission.
Uh-huh.
Now, to me, that is a point where the vendor has said to him, all right, if you can really get this massive figure, I'll give you more.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's basically what he's saying to me. There's a tiered commission.
Yep.
And so you understand what I'm saying.
Definitely. That's his carrot.
That's his carrot. And he made the mistake of telling me.
Mm.
So I just didn't blink, didn't do anything. In fact, I made a complete fool of myself. When I stood up to leave, he was a very tall man. He went to open the door and I thought he was giving me a hug. I threw myself in his arms. I got past that embarrassment. I went, okay. So I went and discussed this with my clients. And what the price he'd said was very reasonable with the comparables we'd looked at.
Right.
So we re-looked at the price research. So I said, why? And everyone makes mistakes, yeah? So I suggested to my client that we came in on contract the next day. So not an arbitrary, phone call, email, on contract with a deposit. Yep. So it's like putting a suitcase of cash at their feet. Like you can exchange there and then.
Wow.
So I called him up, said, can I see you again? So I didn't tell him what I was doing. So I came in again and I had this whole package. I said, I've got this offer for you, but I need it exchanged today. But wink, wink, I've managed to get you because, you and I are the ones in the industry.
Yeah.
We're going to work together again. I've actually got you your extra commission.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was just like, are you kidding me? He got in the car. This time he was at the office before me. He drove to Chatswood and he got it exchanged an hour later.
Brilliant. So it might not have hit that number, but you got that extra commission out of your client. Is that right?
I did hit the number.
Oh, you did hit. Yeah. So
I
you
hit
got
his
it
number
because of that.
Because to us it was really, and then because it was very early in the campaign, like competition hadn't built up. I think maybe there'd been one open for inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done. And so these are the success stories that you can
Oh, so
tell
many of them.
everybody, and this is what people can expect when they work with you.
Oh, I look, some of my favorite stories are at auctions though, because the auctioneer tries to dominate you, especially
Yeah.
blonde woman,
I can
middle-aged
imagine that
now.
being very high
Mm,
pressured, and I can imagine so you have
yeah.
to be very strong, and you say, okay, look, we've come to our max now. Thank you very much. We're walking away.
Yeah, and they'll try and get you to bid against yourself,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I had that probably 18 months, 2 years ago let me know if I'm rambling, but in
No, not at all.
Newtown. And my clients were away. And because I'm quite, I'm one of my jobs is keeping people going. It's
Mhm.
keeping energy up and like, come on, guys, we're going to look for the next one now.
Yeah, that's right.
And, people get
And that's
really
mindset. That's
upset.
all about chapter 1 in your book, mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was under strict instructions not to contact them on their Japanese holiday. Like they were like, Elaine, we don't want to hear from you. I was like, all right.
We're skiing in Japan. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
literally. But the Thursday before they were coming back, a real estate agent had called me and said, have you got anyone for this? I said, I was in the middle of the boom. So 2.5, 3 years, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I have, but I can't afford, I've got a couple who would love it, but they can't afford it. And he said, anyway, cut a long story short, he'd had these strong offers in at the beginning of the campaign, like 1.6s,
Yep.
because it was the boom. They'd all gone off and bought. He had no buyers coming to the auction.
Yeah.
So I did all the work without telling my clients. So once I'd done all the due diligence, got a solicitor on side, I finally had the guts to call them, and they were on the train on the way back. So they were fine. And I said, look, I've done this. I said, there's this house going to auction tomorrow, like as you land. But I said, I can get the building inspector there to meet you in the morning. The
Wow.
contract's fine. I've done it all.
Amazing.
And they were like, okay, we'll see you at the house. So we were there 8 o'clock in the morning for the building inspector. And this house was at Newtown. The street was out. Like it was hundreds of people, but I was the only one bidding.
Oh
I
my
was the only
God.
registered bidder. And they were trying to get me to bid against myself, and the auctioneer just wouldn't put down. And I had heaps more money.
That's
Like,
crazy.
I hope and actually the real estate agents left Sydney now, so I can talk about, I had heaps more money, but I was like, well, look, I'm done. I've told you at the beginning of the week, I'm done. And the auctioneer was like going on about cafes and trying to spread it out. And in the end I went, could you just drop the hammer then so we can all go and have a coffee?
That's great.
And then they went in and, spoke to the vendors, whisper, whisper, whisper. And then he came back and he said, Elaine, if you go up this 30,000, we will drop the hammer and it's yours. I said,
Right.
and that's bidding against myself still though, isn't it?
Isn't that crazy?
So I was like, if you make me do this and you don't drop the hammer, because I've never bid against myself before,
Yeah.
and maybe those circumstances won't come again. So I did. I think that's when I went up to 145, and they'd got offers of 1.6 earlier in the campaign.
Wow.
And I said, okay, 145, that's it, I'm done. And then they went round again. Not that there was anyone to go round, but
Oh my God.
exactly. You can feel my stress. And I was just like, oh, this is out of control. But they finally dropped the hammer, and then and everyone was cheering. And then when I walked back to my clients, they were very nonchalant. I mean, they were jet lagged. And I said, they were like, no, we're going inside to negotiate now. I said, no, it's yours.
It's done.
Done. And they said, they were so funny because I'd been working with them a while by now. And they were like, Elaine, you were like a nonchalant teenager. All you needed was your cigarette.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I've got so many auction stories. They just try and play you,
What a story. Bidding against yourself. Anything's possible
cheeky.
these days.
People do it though. I stand in auctions and people bid against themselves.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
Crazy world. But it is fascinating to me, this whole new emergence of buyer's agents. Every corner there's another buyer's agent popping up. It's just incredible.
I cannot believe it. In a way, am I glad I'm not the end of my career by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm glad I'm as established as I am. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Not the end. Oh my God.
Now, Elaine, I believe you have a course coming out next year. Is that right?
I'm so excited. Yeah, I've got a course coming out, and so I've written a book already. But this is a condensed So it's called How to Buy Property Like a Pro, because
Nice.
not everyone can afford a buyer's agent. And even though I believe a buyer's agent is more important than a selling agent, because as I say, you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. Whatever you're selling, you can stand there with a clipboard.
That's
So
great.
but yes, I'm bringing out the course in February. February 12th is meant to be the launch date, and I go through everything, and you get me once a week. So there's going to be set homework, and it's again the negotiations, how to find these off-market properties, but how to deal with the real estate agent, how to bid at auction, all these things I was just saying to you actually.
Perfect.
Really, and then homework, and we're going to really drill in. So by the end of that, my students will be super confident against that professional real estate agent who is doing scripts every week.
Yeah. And does that mean this course could be for someone who also wants to get into the field as a buyer's agent?
I think
it's
so.
Like a training course.
I think so. I've thought about that. Not ideally, but my idea was, it's a better way of saying it, my idea was for the buyers out there. Yeah. But I think if I was getting into the market now, I wish I'd had this course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. And so is it going to be online as well, or pre-recorded, or is it all just one-on-one?
No, it's online. So you're going to get your slides and your homework, and you're going to get, and that'll be live. So I'll do that bit live, but then I'll do a Q&A, a 2-hour Q&A once a week as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, I'm just copying somebody else's formula.
Very clever idea.
I've been thinking about it for a while, so thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait for people to be, going to auctions confidently. Like good old Dr. Phil says, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So get to know the real estate agent. If they've underquoted before, they're going to underquote again.
It's the nature of the industry.
It's the nature of humans.
The nature of the function. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. That's what they're meant to do.
That's what they do. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Elaine, thank you so much. It's been
oh my gosh, it's gone so quickly.
Pleasure to have you on the show. Tell us a bit about how we can actually find out about you, connect with you, find out about your book, find out about your course. Where can people go if they want to learn more?
Okay, so I'm on Instagram, elaine.davies.inc, INC. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a private Facebook group on Facebook, which is where all the real fun stuff happens, all the questions about property, and that is the Property Profit, Prophet, the Property Profit Lounge, Elaine Davies, and of course elainedavies.com.
Love it. Awesome. Well, what I'll do is I might get you to send me all those links so we can put them in the show notes for everybody. And thank you once again for coming on the show. It's been absolutely fascinating because, as I mentioned, I'm fascinated by this whole industry.
Are you?
I am.
I think a lot of Sydney is, or maybe a lot of the world is. Yeah.
It's just incredible at the moment. On fire.
On fire. Yeah. Well, anyone, if you need any help, just give me a ring.
Definitely. And if you want to learn more about how to buy a property, what might be the pitfalls to avoid, or if you are a budding buyer's agent that wants to learn, do Elaine's course. You never know what gold will be there.
Yeah, just follow me on Insta. It'll all be there.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Elaine. So thank you very much for coming on the show. And anything else you'd like to leave us with before we finish up?
Okay, I think the big thing is this underquoting and real estate agents. So on one level, on the pricing, you don't listen to them at all. But, treat them with respect, because if you get angry with them, they're not going to want to deal with you anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of buyers out there, and that's the problem. So if you get really wound up and show that to them, why are they going to help you? So let's just try and get a bit of respect back in there and try and meet people on a really intelligent, smart way where you've got your information, they've got their information, and we meet in the middle.
I love it. Well done. Well said. Well, everybody out there, the fantastic Elaine Davies, buyer's agent extraordinaire. Hope everybody had a fantastic show and learnt a lot like I did. So Elaine, once again, thanks for coming on.
Merry Christmas, everybody, and rocking 2021.
Absolutely. Have a great Christmas, New Year. And everybody out there will be back tomorrow for another episode and probably one or two more before 2021. So have a great one, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.